Good afternoon. Hopefully I'm going to do a whistle-stop tour, as I call it, of networking. It is a real privilege to be here today. And I suppose what I would like to do first of all is that I'm primarily here as a representative of the British Dietetic Association. Florina, can you join me for a moment, please? And Dr. Van? Just like to bring best wishes from the British Dietetic Association for this, your first annual conference, and from you as well as the new Romanian Association for Nutrition and Dietetics. Thank you. I'll let you go again. What I would like to do is to give you a little bit about me. Our picture here of Europe, and obviously we have now got the United Kingdom, which has England and Wales and Scotland, and then across the little dark green bit is Northern Ireland. Okay, what does Northern Ireland look like? My university is just along the coast from here. There's the Giant's Causeway. Again, going back 60 million years, we have 38,000 of these stones that look like a honeycomb. Again, just down the road from my university. If I go to the bottom point of Northern Ireland, we come to the mountains of Mourne. And again, just going through the mountainside, which, as we flew over here, we could see a lot of similarities. Strangford Lough, this is my home. This is my part of Northern Ireland. And then there's Ugly Mug, me. Okay. You've two of me at this point in time. The reason I want to bring this back is, why is Pauline Douglas from Northern Ireland standing here in front of you? And that really is very much as I started out my career in dietetics, where I was nosy. I kept wanting to talk to people. I kept putting my hand up to ask questions. The reason then I went through my career, progressed very nicely, went on to be the honorary chairman of our professional association. And through that, and through another meeting where Professor Anne Deloy and Judith Liddle introduced me to this gentleman called Dr. Nick Dan. And that was last October, and we started talking about associations, about setting up associations, about being here and being part of, wow, what has happened in such a very short space of time. What I'm trying to say is, that's networking. Networking, we've heard a lot of it today. It's very much that supportive system of sharing information, sharing services among individuals and groups that have a common interest. And we do. It's called dietetics. I know when I first thought of networking, I thought of computers. Computers all around the world. That was a network. I then began to think of people and people in business and how were those people connected. And then we get down, and again, I won't even ask you to begin to read what's there. I just think it's a beautiful flower. That in the centre, it's the conversation. It's the art of listening, of learning, and of sharing. And I think in this day and age, there is so much and so many ways that we can communicate, so many ways that we can actually network effectively. And that's what we've really got to do as dietitians around the world, very much get in there, that we can share our knowledge and we can stand up on platforms across the world with the evidence and with the knowledge that we do know what we're talking about. I think this one on networking, for me, the words that start coming out, it's about efficiency. It's not about duplicating effort. It's about connections. It's about both formal and informal relationships. And I suppose, again, to me, the bit is professional. That's where we are, and that's where we really want to get things to. But where does it start? When does it start? Again, I think let's start at the beginning. It's starting with our students and taking that progress through. Where are our students going to be? You're going to be sitting in small classrooms. You're going to be working with your own peers. You've got to get to know the people that you're training with. You've got to know where they go on to work, because the information they have may be very useful to you. You then go into a larger teaching classroom where you're maybe being taught with other professionals. And those other professionals, again, you will work with one day. Again, get to know them, ask the questions, ask how they think, why do they do things one way? Because, as we've heard before, the evidence may suggest that nutrition and dietetically, you will do it another way, or there's a better way to do things. Again, you're getting into your small groups, being able to collaborate, being able to do pieces of work, to present posters, to come together to do some research. And again, when I talk about evidence-based practice tomorrow, I'm going to talk a little bit more about what I actually mean by working and research, audit, service evaluation, what you need to do to actually prove the worth of dietitians. Then you come to the large conferences. I will hold up my hand as a very naive, newly graduated dietitian. I sat in it was my first international congress of dietetics. And this lady was giving a presentation. So, questions, so the hand goes up and I ask a question. It was only afterwards that I didn't actually appreciate who I was asking a question of. It was Dorothy Francis, who was one of the world's leading paediatric dietitians. She came to me, she talked to me afterwards, and suddenly I actually had a contact into one of the largest children's hospitals in the UK. So again, just being able to make those connections, be bold, be brave, and start talking. So that's enough about really where we're going. What I want to focus on a little bit is what's happening in Europe that can support you, but also that you can support, because any network is only as good as the people who are actually inputting into that and actually helping with the work that is there. I'm not going to go through. We had very eloquent presentations on what IFAD is doing, but I want to focus you back into that and really looking at the facilitating communication between national dietetic associations and other organisations, professionally, educationally, and giving you the strength and the input to actually act at government level. We've got diets. The diets projects that actually have been going on. And again, they're very much still, as Anne said this morning, we had Diets 1 with the funding and now on to Diets 2. But what I want to concentrate particularly on is the one strand that I have highlighted in red, which is about dietitians' engagement with information communication technology to improve learning, to help and support the networks. First words, it's an Erasmus network. Diets is a network which is designed to actually share the innovation that is going on around Europe, in our instance, with nutrition and dietetics. It allows us to enhance the quality. It allows us to define and develop a new European dimension within our study area. The Diets report, Diets 1 report, and this is only going back to 2009, was actually showing that in the network of partners that there wasn't a richness nor a comfortable use of information technology. And that was neither in equipment nor in the expertise of using it. There was a progression throughout the course of the project that the partners were learning a lot more about technology as a communication tool. And some were investing more. And I think for a lot, particularly in the university and academic settings, that is where the investment predominantly starts. And what students get used to using, they then take into practice with them, or they put the suggestions into practice that they need that equipment to actually work and function. But we appreciate there's lots of barriers, and that's then where the Diets 2 survey started. So again, the aim of, in Work Package 4, because there are different work packages, and that's the theme that I'm looking was produced by Work Package 4, that the aim of the survey, and what I'm now sharing with you, is new information from the interim report, the halfway report of this work. That again, it was to identify innovative education and instructional use of ICT, to actually sell the successes, to identify the barriers and the strategies behind the successes and how to overcome them. So again, the work that this paper is on the use of ICT in higher education. I'll go on through a few other reports which actually then bring education and practice in more alignment. The first bit about asking, do you use ICT for online communication? So Skype, MSS Messenger, GoToMeeting. And I suppose, as you can see here, the one big area was that Skype was one of the areas that was significantly used. Hands up, do you use Skype? Yeah? What do you use it for? And again, what it's showing, it's coming out very highly that it's online meetings. You've got live discussion. Again, where it's beginning to come in much more is for assessments of practical content and practical placement. And I know that's one of the areas that we are beginning to use with our own students in the University of Ulster. Just again, that engagement, because again, I think they see, rather than putting PowerPoint presentations up, that if we can communicate to them while they're out in placement and then help that assessment, that works very, very well. Again, it's looking at what learning management systems would be used within a university throughout the European setting. Again, coming out, all universities tend to have their own sort of platform system, their intranet, and Moodle was one of the others that was coming through from there. I know I'm a Blackboard girl, because that's the one that we would be using. And again, when you actually look at what these systems are for, and I know there's a volume of areas down there, but it's providing information on the course, digital portfolios, e-portfolios, again, publishing presentations, publishing announcements, reading materials, but again, goes down to looking at calendars, looking at study activities, so a lot of areas that are coming through from there. Then they get on to social media. And again, there's a lot of areas as we talk through the social media side that, do we use it, do we not use it? And again, that's very much one of the big questions that we are beginning to embrace. Facebook coming up as the main one that is being used. Digital photography, again, for learning purposes, very clearly coming through, 90% of people saying they're using these kinds of technologies. And the biggest one there that's coming through is YouTube. Mobile devices. Again, one of the things that the majority were actually saying, No, we don't use that for learning purposes. But again, there's a lot of work going on throughout the world where patients are actually being given updates by the dietitian on the mobile phone. They're being given little snapshots. You remember today to do this. So again, more and more things actually coming into play which are communicating and networking with our patients. Another one of the interim reports was on the role of the institution, but again, looking at introducing it and almost Facebooking and measuring that up with the practice educators. So actually looking at that balance. And again, what was coming out was that the important areas that are frequently used are about sharing documents, interactive exercising tools, and maybe what's not so frequently used, the social media and the mobile ICT. But there was a third report which looked specifically at the social networking, because again, a lot of the students and the younger people were coming on board saying, this is what we need. Again, as far as diets were concerned, it was about getting a broader communication out there to dietitians, to academics, to students, and other professionally involved people in the science of nutrition and dietetic. We have begun to look, as I said, at the barriers. There's some of the regulatory bodies that are just going, no, you're not allowed to use Facebook, because personally, whatever you do in person can affect and can be seen to be detrimental to your professional career. So again, it's one of those areas that I think it is watch this space, and we do look forward to that next document in this report. One of the things today, now I have faces all around the world. I think it's been said in so many ways today, we've got to remember that we have different languages, different terminologies, and as Jessie was saying, the standardized language, even in dietetics, what I may believe is nutritional support is not what Jessie believes nutritional support is. So how do we actually begin to do that? And I think in networking, we've got to be very clear, very succinct, and actually understand and pay heed to the cultural differences, the language differences, and the technology differences. We know, again, through the European developments, there will be an e-journal that will be coming out. And again, I think that's another opportunity for dietitians to get involved with. And we know we have got the Diets Conference in Slovenia, and Anne was able to tell us about that earlier on today. I think the one thing we've got to remember is none of us is as smart as all of us. As I said before, EFAD may be a body, ICDA may be a body, your association is a body, but all of that needs to come together because we can learn through networking to share. I have a picture now of yourselves. I think, again, think of networking and just think and believe in what has been done for this conference to be in being, for all of the networking and the sharing, the fact that you have got people from so many parts of the world that you can actually come and talk to us. And I said, those names, most people are only too willing. We have a passion about dietetics and are only too willing to share any expertise or give direction if we possibly can. But I think most importantly, see my little fellow here? Just think that that's you. Have confidence, self-confidence. Basically, you've got the knowledge, and what we want to do is to provide our clients with the opportunity to enjoy a better quality of life through improved nutrition and food choice provision. That's networking. Thank you.